Me, I'm Berenike Schriewer, and I'm known as a work you love coach, and I specialize in helping people get paid for doing what they love. Skip over that. I'm the Work You Love Revolution, work less, earn more, and never hate your job again. With people from all sorts of different continents. So this is just for you to know that what I'm sharing can work depending on your culture or your profession. And most I've also gone through this whole process myself. So a few years ago, I was a high-paid attorney. I was working on multi-billion and multi-million dollar cases. I was qualified for judicial office. And I was about to complete my PhD from the world's oldest university institute in international law. And while that may sound good, I was really miserable. And one day, I was in the dentist's office, I realized that I literally preferred that type of pain, the pain of getting a root canal over being at work, which is a good indication that you're probably not in the right place. And then eventually I made a radical change that involved leaving a career that I'd spent a decade building. I also moved to another continent where I built a business from scratch. And here's sort of like the before and after image. And I just want you to know that this is also possible for you. So the image on the right is from December 2019, before the world changed as dramatically as we saw it. And having this business, doing what I love, allowed me to travel while also serving clients. And this was wonderful. So this was, a couple of weeks we spent in Southeast Asia. Hopefully at some point we can do that again. All right. So while I'm so much happier now than I used to be, my path to getting there was harder than it needs to be. And after having helped hundreds of people on 6 continents, I know that you don't have to take crazy risks to make money doing what you love. And I think there's a much easier way to do that. Are you ready to find out more? If so, just type that in chat. All right, so my goal is to help you make a big impact in the following ways. I want to give you clarity about the process where you are feeling confused, and show you how you can create your own passion path so that you can earn money doing what you love. I also give you gifts to the world so that you can actualize your potential, and how you can become an inspiration and role model for others. Now I have one ask for you, and that ask is that while we're going through this, you imagine yourself taking these steps, or you imagine yourself doing these things and really building out your path. And there's a reason why that is important. So here, Charles Garfield talks about how he's discovered that numerous peak performers use the skill of mental rehearsal or visualization. So basically, they run through important events before they happen. And you can do that to practice certain skill sets, playing the piano or in sports. But you can also do that in a broader context of the life that you want to create. And that just helps you align more with that and help change your internal thought process to make it more likely that you're actually going to create what you want to create. All right, is it okay for us to move forward with this commitment in place? And please don't just nod your head. This is really important stuff, so type yes in the chat box to let me know. Okay, and you may be having a couple of concerns as we head into this. So one thing, very common concern is about having enough time. And I can totally understand that. So back when I was working in a big law firm, I really didn't have a lot of free time. And it seemed, when I thought about adding more to my plate, it just didn't seem like I could do that. But at some point I realized that it's actually more important to have more energy than more time. Because if you have a lot of, you can quickly move through things. And even if you only have a per week, you're not going to spend them, like we're vegging out on the couch or watching Netflix, but you might use them to build something that's really important for you. So let's look at how you can have more energy instead of just looking at how to have more time. And ultimately, what I also realized that it's that doing the things that I share with you, doing something that I feel passionate about actually gave me energy, not took it. So even if I hadn't slept a lot, which is not a good thing, like we all should focus on getting enough sleep. But even if I was tired physically, but I was, doing something that I was passionate about, I had a lot of energy. And that can give you the confidence to get started. Now, there's another concern. And first of all, I don't think you need to necessarily spend money to, earn money initially. There are ways to get set up with tech and in all sorts of other ways that don't require you to spend money. But then the other thing to keep in mind is think about money in terms of investment. Is it a good investment? Like, are you getting more out of it than you're putting in? And my experience is that ourselves can often pay off huge dividends. So, for instance, one of my personal coaching clients was able to effectively negotiate for a raise, and then the coaching basically paid for itself within the first month. So this is just an example of how, when you spend money buying books or courses or investing in coaching, how you can actually get more out of it than you put in. So think about it that way as well. And then what I'm sharing with you falls outside of your skill set, and I really understand that. That was, the world I used to live in a couple of years ago was very different than the world I live in now, and I had to learn a lot of new things. And as we go through this presentation, I want you to ask yourself, how can I do this? And by asking this how question, you're accessing a different part, of your brain, so to speak, and you discover the path for doing that. So look for that, help you see that you can do this. Look for, like the people who've done well. All right. I'm going to switch back to a place where I can see the chat. And first of all, let's talk about time machines. Now, who here has wished for a time machine during this year at some point? Just let me know in chat if sometime during 2020. Okay. Let me see. The slides should be moving. They're moving it. Are the slides still not moving for you? No? They're not moving. Okay. That's super weird because it's moving for me. All right, my apologies for that. Okay, so now I did click on it one-on-one. This is weird. Okay, so you can now see the new slide. All right. Okay, basically for now, let's assume that we have a time machine. All right, great. Okay. Thanks for your patience with that. Okay, that's great. Thank you so much. All right. Yeah, so what I would like for you to do is to take a moment to close your eyes and imagine that you actually have access to a time machine right now. And what I want for you to do is to imagine that it is a year from now as you're stepping into this time machine. And it takes you to January 2nd, 2022. And this is a Sunday. And let's assume that the weather is quite sunny. And now assume that you have this time machine and you're meeting with your future self. And that future self is actually doing what you would most love to do. And your future self has figured out what that is, and it's also figured out how to share that with people. So as you look at your future self, what are some things that they experience during the day? And keep in mind, you're meeting your future self on a Sunday, so tomorrow will be Monday. Will your future self go to work? Who are the people they work with? What are they doing? Just let me know. Oh, so Clara writes, she has her own business. That's awesome, yeah. And solve problems with. Working from home, expanding his business to different countries, enjoying Sunday afternoon with family, yeah. And as you have these insights on what that would look like for you, take a moment to write those down. And there's actually a ton of research of how important it is to connect with your future self. So, this is not just for fun, even though it's fun. It can also help you gain valuable insights and make good decisions. And maybe also look how it's affecting your relationships, your health, the work that you're doing, just so you have all these bases covered. And I'll give you 1 or 2 more minutes so you can also write that down and keep that in mind. Okay, so a team. All right. Okay, so let's move on, and let me try to work with the slides one more time. Forward if worked for you, and if not, I'll come back. All right, so I think there's actually a secret to how to best monetize someone's passion, and I will tell you about that in a bit. But first, are you ready to jump into this content? Just let me know in the chat box, and also let me know if the slides moved forward for you. Ready. Oh, slides moved. That's great. So I'll just go back. Thank you so much for your patience with that. So as one of my coaches always used to say, he's modeling imperfection. So I'm modeling imperfection for you here. All right. So I want to show you how to create profound changes in your life, just so you can have more meaning and freedom. And let's look at a couple of statistics. So you will probably spend 80,000 hours at work, and 85% of people worldwide are disengaged at work, which is shocking if you think about it. And a study explored how much meaningful work is worth to the average American. And they found that on average, people would trade in more money for meaningful work than they spent on housing. So $21,000 to be exact. And there are dire consequences of work dissatisfaction. So there is a huge review at the relationship between job satisfaction and health, and they found that it can now be confirmed that dissatisfaction at work can be hazardous to an employee's well-being. And there's a strong correlation between job dissatisfaction, self-esteem issues, depression, and also anxiety. Even impact your relationships. So from this perspective, understandable that Americans view meaningful work as something that's so important, and people elsewhere as well. All right, now the great news is that I don't think you need to trade in money for meaningful work, but that you can actually make additional work, even additional money, even while retaining your job. All right, let's. So the first thing to ask yourself is whether you're type 1 or type 2. And that matters because knowing which category you're in can set you and help you figure out what you focus on. Now, type 1 is a group of people that have a lot of achievement. So they're sort of like the people where they see really stability and external success than people around you. But you probably want more meaning, inner peace, and fulfillment. So take a moment to see if that might be you. And just look at how you compare to your peer group, to the people you hang out with, if you feel like you have more achievement and success than many of them. Now, type 2 has inspiring. So if you're type have more meaning, fulfillment, a stronger connection to your purpose in your life than type 1s. But what you probably would like to have more of is to have more of that feeling of achievement, more financial stability, maybe also more external recognition. So I'll just give you a moment to figure out which type you are. Let me know in chat. I'd like to see that. All right, so Sheila is type 2. Clara is type 1. Grace is type 1. And Miriam, yes, I do have a recording of this where the slides move. Slides, yeah, they should be gone at the moment. Okay, so we have a bunch of type 1s and type 2s. Okay. Okay, so let's look at passion keys. Now, the way I think about passion is that passion is like the fuel in your engine or the electric charge in your electric vehicle, and without it, it's hard to get going. And passion is also an indicator of the hidden treasures within a person. So I tend to see passion often as basically a gold medal detector. And if you've ever been in the presence of somebody who feels very passionate, you might have had this experience that when they're really on, it's kind of like almost lighting up. So think for a moment how you feel when you're in alignment, when you're talking about something that you care about. And it doesn't even have to be work stuff, but even just a hobby. And can you see how that's really lighting you up? How I view passion. And there's a beautiful quote that illustrates that. There is a vitality, a life force, and energy, a quickening that is translated through you interaction. And because there's only one of you in all of time, this expression is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist through any other medium and it will be lost. The world will not have it. And people often have a hard time answering the question, what is my passion? And what I found out is that you need to rephrase the question. So instead of asking yourself, what is my passion? Ask yourself, what excites me? What energizes me? What lights me up? What feels like play to me? What makes me forget time? And then write down your answers. So I'll just give you one moment to maybe think about these questions. And yeah, what excites you? Solving problems, helping others. Okay, great. All right, and just write everything down that excites you. And now I think I'll just stop the slides. And we can just do it like that. It allows us to have a bit more of a conversation. So basically, to start thinking about how you can monetize your passion, let me first ask you a question. If you could solve just one world problem, what world problem would you solve? And let me know in the chat. Okay, selfishness. So basically for everybody to be less selfish. Interpersonal communication. Okay, awesome. Depression. Oh, wow, yeah, really good ones. Okay, and if you could now help one single person in a way that would also help heal this, like world problem, even if just for one person, how would that look like? So for instance, Schriewer, you would maybe help one person become more self-loving, right? That could be a way. So just think about how you could break that down to the lower level, to a place where you can actually help one person. Okay, yeah, Clara. Help someone understand the power of active listening, for instance. So basically, what I found is that often when people think about starting a business, that they often start like with the wrong focus. So it's, oh, I need to have a website, or oh, I need to get, the perfect structure set up. And while you want to make sure that you're obviously in alignment with any laws that apply to you, you probably don't need a website right away. And you don't need to focus on the perfect social media profile. So at the start, you basically just need to have one person that you can serve doing what you're doing. And in the beginning, it doesn't necessarily even matter that you're getting paid for it. What matters is that you're getting some experience helping that person. And once you've helped a couple of people, you might then feel much more comfortable, starting to charge for it. Does that make sense when I'm putting it that way? And also let me know if you've ever thought, oh, there are all these things I need to do before I can start focusing on actually just helping a person. Okay, so Antonio mentioned, started my agency that way. That's great. Yeah, so you can see that that's actually, great approach. All right, well, I'm really glad. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I do have a blog post where I have a quick template that you can use if you want to reach out to people on social media and get your first kind of like practice sessions under the belt. So I'll share that with you later. And then basically, let's talk about the last step. And I basically have something that I call the passion roadmap. And how I understand this is that you basically have to start with what you're passionate about. And that's what we did here. We looked at, well, what do you really love to do? What lights you up? And after passion comes purpose. So purpose is a little bit different from passion. Passion is sort of like the gas that lights, that helps you drive the car. And purpose is kind of like, why are you going on that journey in the first place? Why do you care about this? And when you bring both together, it really helps you, like feel better, feel on path and all that. And you then bring in other components like, connecting with your people, finding an audience that loves what you're doing. And eventually you bring in profit. So you can think about profit from the beginning, but don't be discouraged if it takes a bit to get paid for it. That's sort of like coming at the end. And it's basically almost the other way around than how we typically think about it. Like with a regular job, we're getting paid and then maybe we think about, well, do we actually like doing this? So with this approach, we basically start with your passion. And then you gradually build that up. Does that make sense so far? All right, great. So this is actually a pretty good lead-in. So if you want to find out more about this passion roadmap, I have a free course that you can sign up for if you like. So it's 3 videos, each pretty short, so you can watch them in one go. It's 10 minutes generally for each of them. And I share more about this passion roadmap. And let me also find a blog post for you where I share the template of how you can reach out on social media to people to kind of start getting these practice sessions under your belt. And we're at the end of our formal time. I'm going to stick around. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in chat. Thank you so much for enduring the tech issues. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I'd love to stay in touch. Yeah, 1 second. So Clara asked, in your case, what, and please let me know if I'm mispronouncing your name. So in your case, what are your passion and your purpose? So one thing that I've noticed is that passion and purpose can change over time a bit. So one thing that I'm passionate about is helping people. I mean, I could call it like step into their leadership. So basically figuring out what's special about them, what they really want to contribute, and then daring to step forward and doing that. So that's one thing that that I both feel passionate about, and that's also a purpose. So passion I often see as maybe like a particular form. So for instance, I might be passionate about writing, but the why is kind of like, why am I writing? And maybe it's to inspire people or so on and so forth. So it kind of like not blends together, but yeah. So here's, I just shared the link where you can find the script that you can use. Thank you so much. Yeah. Antonia asked about the slides. I do have this presentation recorded. Let me see if I can find that for you. Here's the webinar with the slides and in the 1-hour version, if you want to see that. And the free course is just at leaderforgood.com. Just at the top, you can see a sign-up form. All right. Thanks so much, everyone. And I hope you have a really good day. And yeah, I'd love to see you soon.